welcome or welcome back to Bethesda Woodworks. This is my Steel City 13-inch helical planer. I've had it for about 6 or 8 years or so, and I've used it a lot, and I like it, but I don't love it. There are several things with it that I've managed to sort of work around over the years, but they've really started to bother me. So I finally decided to do something about it. But before I tell you what that is, let me go over the features that I really just don't care for. To start with, it's really, really loud. I know planers are loud, but this one seems especially loud. Let me show you what I mean. Now, just for reference, the ambient volume in my shop is around 40 decibels. And with my dust collector running, it's about 80. So let's see how loud this thing is while it's running. Now, in case that was hard to see on video, the ambient volume in my shop was around 40 decibels. With the shop vac running, it was about 80 decibels. And with this running, it was around 99 without load. And when I was putting lumber through it, it was at up to 105 decibels. Now, just for reference, a live rock concert is around 108 decibels. So when I say it's loud, it's loud. Another thing that I don't care for with this planer is the chip collection. Just running a couple of short boards through, this is the amount of chips that got spewed out the front, even with the dust collector running. And this much came out the back, and this much is on the floor. That's just not very good dust collection. Another thing that I don't love about this planer is it doesn't tend to plane things accurately. This is an oak flooring board that I just planed, and as you can see when I measure it here, 14.222, here is 14.07, and here is 13.95. That's just not quite good enough. But the most bothersome thing by far is snipe. As the wood is going through, there are feed rollers that push it down to make sure that it stays even as it's going through. The first feed roller will push it down a little too much. The second feed roller will push it up a little too much. So a little too much wood is taken off at the front end and the back end. Let me show you what I mean. Now at first glance, this oak board looks fine, but when I highlight it, you can see this line here and this line here. So more wood was taken off here and here. Now that might not seem like a big deal, but it kind of is. Every project that I do, I need to account for about 3 inches at the front and the back of every piece that I put through, which contributes to a whole lot of wasted wood. It also means that I can't put really small pieces through because there would be snipe all over the place. Now you can see one of the things that I tried to do to correct the snipe. I installed in-feed and out-feed tables that are much better and much more stable than the ones that came with it. They're sitting there underneath my workbench collecting dust. These did nothing. I've also built sleds to put the lumber through, and that also didn't do anything. So it's not a problem with the in-feed and out-feed tables, it's the problem with the feed rollers, and those I can't adjust. So after wasting a lot of time and a lot of material with this planer, I finally decided to upgrade to this. This is a Dewalt DW735X. The X just means it comes with in-feed and out-feed tables. If this looks familiar, that's because pretty much every other woodworker on YouTube who uses a portable planer has this one. I found this one on Facebook Marketplace for a really good price, and the owner had actually upgraded from straight knives to a helical cutter head, just like my other planer. So now I need to take my old planer off my flip-top tool cart and install this one. The first step is to remove the in-feed and out-feed tables. Next, there are 4 bolts that are holding the planer to the tool cart. All right, now let's move it to the side. All right, one thing I did not do before I bought this planer was make sure that it was actually going to fit on here. So let's check. Okay, it's gonna fit, but not by much. That was luck, not smarts. Next is to drill new mounting holes for the new planer. The Dewalt has this, what looks like an anti-vibration mat that has holes drilled through it, so I'll put that on here and use that as a template for drilling the holes. All right, there were 4 bolts that were mounting the Dewalt to its mobile stand, and then I removed this, and I will place this roughly centered on here, and then drill the 4 holes. All right, the holes are drilled. Now it's just a matter of moving the planer to the stand. All right, it took quite a bit of shimmying because this thing weighs over 90 pounds, but I finally got it centered. I think the biggest problem was trying to get the planer on top of the anti-vibration mat and all of that lined up with the holes that I just drilled, but finally got it done, so now it's just putting bolts back in. And of course, the bolts are too short. This cart, the top is about a ½ inch thick, and this one, the top is about 2 inches thick. So off to the hardware store to get some longer bolts. All right, I'm back from the hardware store. I realized when I got back that I still needed to drill countersinks on the underside for the washers and the nuts to go into. So off camera, I had to take the planer and the vibration mat off, flip it over, drill countersinks, flip it back over, and then center everything again. But that's all finally done, so let's install the bolts. All right, that's it. Just a few more little final touches. This is my adjustable outfeed support, and it's a little low, so I need to raise this up. Well, I guess the only thing left to do is take it for a test drive. I'm going to put the same 2 pieces of oak flooring through and see how this compares to my old planer. I haven't done this yet, so this is a true first reaction. Let's see. All right, well, before I get started, I can already see one difference with this that I don't actually like compared to the Steel City. The dust port is directly on the back, which means the dust hose is going to go directly over where the wood is coming out. I don't love that. I might have to 3D print a new port with a 90-degree bend on it. But let's see how it performs first. Well, here's something else I didn't account for. The outfeed table doesn't actually fit here because of these supports. So any small pieces that go through are just going to drop like this. Not the end of the world, but I'll probably have to build some kind of platform here instead of the outfeed table. All right, I'm going to see how it works now for real. All right, first, let's see how loud it is. So the volume is pretty much the same. It's somewhere in the mid to high 90s, which is about what I expected. That's not a surprise. Dust collection, on the other hand, was a big difference. Let me show you. There are no chips on the outfeed side. There are a couple of chips on the infeed side and nothing on the floor. So that's a huge improvement. But how does it actually perform? 10.87, 10.91, 10.94, 10.95, 10.96. So much better. But how about snipe? Here's what snipe looked like with the old planer. You can very clearly see a line here and here. And with the Dewalt, there's still a line here, but there's a barely detectable line here. So the snipe is definitely better. It's not perfect, but it's better. And I think it may be even better once I install a new outfeed table. The surface of the piece that I planed with the Dewalt is actually much smoother than with the Steel City. There are fine ridges that I can feel all along the length here, and this is just smooth all over. I just changed the cutters in the Steel City one, so it's not dull cutters, and the cutters on the Dewalt, according to the guy I just bought it from, hadn't been changed in a while. So the cut quality of the Dewalt is much better. Now, none of this actually surprises me. This model of planer is considered the gold standard for benchtop thickness planer, so I knew I was getting the best when I bought it. And apparently I didn't look at reviews of the Steel City before I bought it because they are pretty darn average. So this is a huge upgrade for me, and I really couldn't be happier. I am going to try to install an outfeed support to see if I can improve on the snipe even more. And here's what I came up with for the outfeed table. This is actually the infeed table from the old planer. It is flush with this table, and it's flush with this outfeed support. So I think this will be a big help. All right, that's it. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please share this video with someone who you think might enjoy it as much as you did, and I hope to see you next time.